email itself will be its own experience in the inbox, and it won't just be done clicking links out to a website anymore or a social app or anything. Email will be the experience. And so I don't think it's far away where you'll be able to, e-commerce focus, where you just be able to kind of transact straight from your email inbox. You'll be able to kind of just live within the inbox. And what that'll mean is the relevant email and the stuff that you like and engage with will be way more powerful.
You're listening to Ecomonics, a Debutify podcast, your resource for one-of-a-kind insights into the world of e-commerce and business in the modern age. This is Joseph. I'll be presenting a wealth of industry knowledge from interviews with successful business people and our own state-of-the-art research. Your time is valuable, so let's go. George Hartley, it is good to have you here on Ecomonics. Hi, good morning to you. I know you're in Australia. So how you doing this morning? How you feeling?
Thanks for having me on. Yeah, it's good. It's a chilly day here in Melbourne, and I'm looking forward to sort of kicking off and talking all things email and ecom.
That's same here. But before we do that, now in Australia, it goes into the winter season now, right? Like here in Canada, it's turning warm, and you're having the opposite effect.
Yeah, and the days get shorter as well. So obviously, most of our customers are over in North America and then Europe. So we sort of here in Australia, we do tend to stay up late into the cold evening while you guys are, kicking off into summer. But we've been doing this for like many years, so I'm used to the chilly cold nights working while everyone looks like they're having a good time in North America.
We've waited all year for it, and there's a slight degree of paranoia to the weather because it's, this is nice, but then the sun goes down and all hell breaks loose. So cool. All right, and with that warm up, let's go to the opening question. George, tell us, what do you do, and what are you up to these days?
Yeah, so I'm the co-founder and CEO of Smartrmail. Smartrmail is an app to send better email for e-commerce. We have been building out Smartrmail for the last 5 years. And so basically, if you're if you're selling stuff online, you're on Shopify, BigCommerce, any of these platforms, and you want to do better marketing to your customers using your own data, kind of do a step up in emailing from just bulk newsletters, well, we're the best tool for that. So yeah, me and the team, there's 15 of us, we've been building this out since 2016. And it's been awesome. We obviously e-commerce has been growing strongly that whole time. And with COVID, it took a big leap forward as well. So it's been a really kind of cool space to be in. But my background actually before that was in e-commerce as well. So this is the second startup I've co-founded. Before Smartrmail, and actually that sort of the idea of it came out of it, was our first startup that's still going strong, called Blue Thumb here in Australia. Blue Thumb is Australia's largest online art marketplace. And I co-founded that back in 2012. My brother still runs that and is growing that. And yeah, the sort of the idea for Smartrmail and like a better email retention tool using data came out of what we were doing with Blue Thumb. And that was emailing art to our browsers and customers. And yeah, not to ramble, but the whole genesis of...
Oh, no, please do. We're pro ramble here.
The whole genesis of why we why we even came about was, we were trying to solve retention basically for Blue Thumb. So someone would come to Blue Thumb and they'd look around looking for art, and they might add something to cart, or they'll click on a few artworks or add a few to a wish list. But say they've added an abstract artwork to their cart. Sending this person recommendations of other abstract artwork wasn't a great solution, because art is a very, very personal thing. And the sort of the key insight, and the only thing you can really use to say, hey, does this person like, what other artwork will this person like, is what they've done on your site. And so we did try a few third-party email tools to kind of do better email retention marketing. And we ended up just sort of rolling our own one. I've sort of years ago got a master's in computer science, and I did intelligent web systems, and we had to do these kind of recommendation systems, I guess, like, really basic machine learning stuff. And so, we sort of decided, why don't we try and roll our own system? And it kind of worked. It actually was a really good retention channel for Blue Thumb, sending people recommended artworks via email based on what they've done. So this should exist for like anyone else who's doing e-commerce. Just because you're like a 10-person online store doesn't mean that you shouldn't have like like this powerful tool. And so that was the whole genesis. We sort of thought we'd have an MVP ready in 3 months back in 2015, and it took about 14 to launch on Shopify and BigCommerce, and the rest is kind of history.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a fair question in there for people just wondering, like, the disparity between the projection versus the result. I think it's something curious. But I'm going to put a pin in it. Maybe we can dig into it after. But there was a number of things that stuck out to me with what you described, up to and including what I just said. One of them is that the serendipity of it being an art-based platform, I think, provided a higher degree of awareness, like you were saying, art being a subjective medium. Versus, I don't want to start throwing other niches under the bus, but if you take something where the emotional range is much more specific, so say pets, for instance, the emotional range for pet is pretty much, oh, that's cute, or oh, that keeps my animal from abandoning me. It's pretty much those two, as far as I understand. Whereas art is actually a distinct array of emotions. You have people who will deliberately buy something that depresses them because they just want to convey that mood on the wall. So you have this challenge of what I would say is the most disparate, or really the most diverse array of interests, and trying to figure out how do you then decide what to show people. So this ties into the fact that your email system is data driven. So how were you unearthing the data exactly from the art platform? And I guess on a broader perspective, in general, how do we collect the right data to make the right call to what we say to our customers? And
it is a good problem to start on art, and because people have this absolute emotional connection. There's sort of not much rational about what you love, and also it's completely unique. So they're one-off pieces. So it's not like you have a really popular T-shirt line that you have a ton of data about this one product, right? You can only take user data. And also, Blue Thumb has 250,000 art pieces, like individual SKUs. You can think about it that way. So it's a great one to kind of solve first, and then you can back solve for someone's store who has a lot less complexity. But I guess what pieces of data sort of are most important to drive intent? Well, we in a way we sort of are constrained because we work with other platforms. So we do rely a little bit on the data that comes through the APIs of the platforms we plug into. We also do some on-page tracking as well. But the key stuff we look at is past purchases, add to cart, product clicks, and then time on product pages. And it's just a big mix of that. And we actually kind of send it to a recommendation engine that we've been tuning for the last couple of years. So I actually don't know what the exact right mix is. We sort of just tend to tune the inputs, and it tells us the best outputs, I guess, over time. And it kind of does it at an aggregate scale as well. So, for us, because we have 11,000 stores, and we're going for many years, and just tons and tons of data points. They're the key sort of inputs, I guess you'd say.
Okay, well, I would like to take a moment and also ask, what was the inspiration for Blue Thumb? And we don't want to spend too much time talking about it, but I would like to know what was the mindset and why you're driven to do the art platform.
Sure. Yeah. So, it was my brother Ed and co-founder Phil. We wanted to do something online. We sort of liked marketplaces. This was back in 2011. I was a failed musician. I'd sort of at one point in my life, I'd been, an indie musician, and I'd run my whole kind of life and career on SoundCloud. And I put career in kind of air quotes.
No, I'm a
Which
failed
was
comedian, so I empathize.
nice. Well, it's funny. I'm not sure comedy has a platform to run your career either. But as a musician, music had the SoundCloud, which was this amazing platform, and it kind of like allowed you to do so much. And it was, it sort of really just opened my eyes to a platform for creativity can really do. And it was pretty inspired. And we're talking about, what I guess niche we wanted to work in, and chucked around wine. Like, I liked music, but I couldn't see a way to improve on SoundCloud. And then, had a couple of good friends at school growing up who were visual artists and were visual artists at the time. And my dad was like an amateur painter and had been all our lives. And we thought, well, why not fine art, it just seemed like it was needed. Artists needed this. And we assumed that buyers might need this. To go into a gallery is still a pretty intimidating experience. It's not something I like doing or feel comfortable. We thought there might be a lot of people who want like nice original art for their homes, but don't buy it because there's no access to it. So that's sort of why we blazed away. And we all had jobs at the time as well, Phil, Ed and I. And we did it as a kind of side job for a year or two. And it just started to grow it, bootstrap it.
I will say I haven't been to an art gallery too often, but it can be it can be an interesting place to feel like, am I doing this right? Like, I think for me, the thing that at least the takeaway that I get from like an art gallery, and of course I'm being brief about this, is the same takeaway that I get when I watch a theater presentation versus watching a TV show. TV shows, they convey the reality more because they have the luxury of editing and CG, whereas theater is all about engaging the imagination and connecting with the kinetic energy happening on stage in that moment. And so, like, I remember I went to a Van Gogh exhibit, and I'm assuming there was some restorative work between now and, when he made the art, but still to be able to see like the individual key brush strokes that he had put into it, and to know that those actions, that kinetic energy had transcended time. That to me, it was like the thing that stuck out to me from my experience. But, for every Van Gogh exhibit, there's like 50 where there's like a garbage pail and people can't tell they're supposed to use it or take photos.
Exactly right. And especially like contemporary art, right? It's this sort of overwhelming, intimidating minefield for me and a lot of others. So it's we started Blue Thumb to do the opposite, basically make art available for everyone, and also to give artists who are up and coming a chance. And actually Blue Thumb kind of it's very mission driven. It's building the home of Australian artists, and it's we've got this running total of artists who've started as part-time artists and had to work and become career artists through Blue Thumb, and that's really exploded over the last year or two. So it's nice to see, and I kind of think that a lot of those folks, they don't get that first shot at getting gallery representation, and so wouldn't have had the opportunity to become full-time at their passion. So it's really nice to see Blue Thumb letting them do that. And it's the largest art marketplace in Australia now, and it's still growing really strong. Like COVID, it just went bananas. So it's been good.
Mm-hmm. Well, people want to images, especially of things that they haven't been able to go to in a while. I think the thing for me that strikes me as really significant, especially for our entrepreneurial audience, is laying down the foundation for one business. It can bring out different problems, good problems to solve, which can then lead into the next business idea, and so on and so forth. So another grenade I'm going to put the pin back in is, because that's how grenades work, is if this is starting to inspire ideas for where you want to go next. So let it stew. We'll see. We might get back to that one. So to my audience, you all know that over time I've been picking and choosing. I somewhat treat this podcast as a buffet where I get to see the vast array of options, and I'd be like, I like that. I'm comfortable with that. I'm going to try that. And I am super tempted to actually use this software myself. I haven't made up my mind on which one I wanted to use prior to, but this one speaks to me, and the arts background too always works for me because I have my own arts background as well. So what's step one? I get this installed. This isn't hypothetical, by the way. I ain't sold anything yet. But I want to get this ready because what I want is to know that I have as strong of a brand as I can muster, so that when those first few customers roll in, I can take the most amount of advantage of it. Better terminology than that, but we're going to go with it. I want to make sure that they're getting the best experience they can, and emailing is such a significant part of that, or just the retention, to speak more broadly.
Yeah, so we've designed step one based on our experience in e-commerce. And so our experience in e-commerce was we were chronically under-resourced for time, and actually really a little bit of experience in all the channels we're trying to work at. We sort of, it was just a couple of people kind of growing this thing and a bunch of generalists. We didn't have our own SEO expert, our own retention expert, those sorts of things. You sort of have to wing it, right? And so. And the other point there is, just always running out of time. And so we've designed Smartrmail to be really fast to set up, fast to get kind of designed and going, but also fast to use while you're composing and editing and those things. So number one is like speed, and I'll talk about that in a sec. And number two is a lot of smart defaults and smart drafts, flows, and setups. So the whole point is, you might have a store and maybe you've been doing sort of weekly emails or something like that, and maybe an abandoned cart email. Well, you know that there's a lot more you can be doing with retention, but you might not know what best in practice, sort of best practice looks like. So what we give you is you'll sign up, and when I say fast, we pull in all your store data from whatever platform you're on. We also run a magic designer. And so what we do is we actually scrape your store while it's installing, and we pull in your fonts, your colors, and we set a design automatically that, as best as we can, matches how your store looks. You can obviously edit that. There might be a missing gap here or there, but yeah, we scrape it. And so you kind of have these default designs that look pretty much like your store, with colors, fonts, button kind of layouts, all those sorts of things. And the whole point is, you shouldn't have to think about that. You have a nice sort of fairly minimal but nicely matching design for all your emails. You can obviously edit. And then the key thing is we give you like a bunch of really useful default flows. So there'll be like a win back flow. There'll be like an abandoned cart flow with kind of splits based on whether the customer is a previous purchaser or not. You get like a handful of segments that you should be able to use and connect straight into Facebook as custom audiences if you want to do retargeting marketing against those segments. All those things, they're all sitting there ready for you to go. You can go and turn them on, make your edits or whatever. So while you're installing, it takes a few minutes, you'll see spinners and things happening. We're kind of getting all that stuff set up for you in the background so that you kind of take that next step without really having to engage an email marketing agency if you don't want. And I guess that's the big difference between us and some of the other e-commerce competitors in email. There are some other good competitors that have been there for many years that sort of, like their products and whatnot. But if you look at the reviews, or if you look at someone using sort of a side-by-side comparison, the time to get a good result on a competitor's software is just a long time, and you need that expertise to really understand what to set up. We kind of want to get people there quicker, and especially people leveling up without having to kind of engage an expert.
Well, despite the digging that I had done, it didn't occur to me that there's a lot of automations even before installation is complete, to the point where it recognizes what my brand is, my color schemes, my color scheme is blue and white for my website. It's yeah, but there's also the specific of like I guess the hex key too. I just wanted to make sure that I don't okay, hang on a second, did I get the right blue, stuff like that. Little subtle things like that too. It's good to know that that's being looked after. You guys do have a course on the Shopify.com, so I can obviously recommend checking those out. Now, the emails that are sent out here, I imagine these are basically like the main ones that people go to the most. But I also don't think that these are like the be all end all. That there are other, maybe slightly less prevalent emails that might be more significant on a niche to niche basis. Yeah, educational emails, social share emails, replenishment, which if I had to guess is like you're out of something. Here you need to get more of it. Am I right?
Yeah, and so we give people as much as we can for sort of defaults, but if you're people sell everything online, so if you're selling secondhand Rolexes where your replenishment or your repeat customer average rate is maybe 3 years, it's very different setting up like a replenishment email series base versus say if you're selling protein powder where people order every month. So yeah, this sort of we talk about different types of I guess best practice email flows. But yeah, they're definitely it's a general course, and you just need to take into account your audience and your products. And so I think there's a few other examples in there as well. Tesla's on Shopify. Their types of emails, winbacks and whatnot are very different to someone selling something that is more consumable.
Yeah. There's a few other ones there too, but what we can do is we can put a link to it in the comments so people can check it out on their own time. I am always like, what am I going to do when I have somebody for an hour? Am I going to just make them like recite the course? Nah, it's all good. Okay, so set up. Not only am I like so surprised and impressed at how much of the groundwork is laid out. So what I assume step 2 is now to start composing these emails. For my position right now, this is kind of the beauty of remarketing is if I'm able to start getting traffic to the store, that's already a win. It's already a success because now they have turned into potential assets. They might be conversions later. But now hopefully I want to get them on my newsletter. So with composing emails, I look at these templates and I imagine, okay, I think I want to do, an abandoned cart email. That's probably like one of the first ones I want to do. I want to set up informative emails as well, start educating people about the brand. So, we could talk about, I guess, like some of the best practices you've seen of, how people have handled their email marketing. So we can get into that. But my question is largely about the composition of the email itself. To me, I'm almost picturing like kind of like what Grammarly does, almost, where it's almost like it's keeping track of what I'm writing and it's actually making some suggestions and adjustments to tone and what I want to convey. So, in the interest of speed, what is how long would it take to write the typical email?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So we provide basically default copy in all these email flows, but it's not going to match your brand tone of voice at all. What it has is it's almost placeholder copy. Like it reads well and it will work for you if you don't have time, but really what's best is to change that copy and match how you communicate your brand. The key thing is we have all of the merge fields, so all of the suggested data for each email will already be in there, and you can write around it or delete it and redo it. But I guess we don't go as far as sort of ML to suggest a punchy subject line. We're not that advanced, unfortunately. I wish we were. And yeah, there's that's where sort of the art remains, I think, in email marketing and any marketing, obviously, is we focus as hard as we can on powerful tools that are simple to use. However, in the really engaging subject line can make such a massive difference in your open and click and eventual sales rates. And that's something that we actually can't help you with, and it's kind of that's down to the magic of you and your brand. But what we do is, by providing the defaults, we kind of give you the idea of what is a good starting point for how many emails, what you can be talking about in each one, and where the customer is on that journey. So we might provide, so for example, we provide a default for customers who abandoned cart and never bought from you. And there are more emails in that series. And, a third one has like an offer or a discount code to give them people that nudge. Whereas, if it splits where someone has bought from you before, we won't suggest that final nudge of a discount, because converting that person who's bought from you before is a much easier task. So it shouldn't require that. So we sort of give those kind of cues, and the actual composing a really engaging email, well, that's still up to you as the shop owner, unfortunately.
Right. I know. Yeah. I'd say when we get to the point where that kind of thing is automated, at that point, I think automation is just taken over, and we can all get into spaceships. So I'm not. I'm optimistic about that at some point, but we'll see if I survive long enough to see it unfold. But one of the things that I found very illuminating, this is much earlier on in like my own e-commerce journey, is you talk about the advertising. The formula in advertising is so structural and so enmeshed in marketing and sales, and however broadly we can speak to it, that once it gets onto Facebook, it's still basically the same premise as, like, if you see it on a TV ad. Can I still recall it by heart? I'm not like amazing at recalling it off by heart, but I try. A hook, old bad, new good, benefits over features, call to action. And I think to some degree that's also true about these different email templates, is that there are formulas and there are structures that have proven themselves in time, in the same way that email has proven itself that it's still relevant today, if rather crucial too, in my estimation. So I think that's kind of like the starting and stopping point, where it's about the formula, it's about the structure, it's about what is proven to be effective, the steps that are effective, and then people can come in and they change the tone, they change the wording. But I suspect that people don't veer too far off really from the structure that's conveyed in not and. Really, again, speaking broadly, not just with you guys, but I really think in general.
And I guess the one thing that sort of really stands out when you look at the stores that have massive success with email marketing on Smartrmail, and when we measure that, so on a dashboard, you can actually see what % of your revenue for your store is coming directly through email clicks. And so when stores starts getting above 25% of their revenue attributed directly from email clicks, you can see that they are really doing email right. The thing that stands out is the design of their emails invariably is quite minimal and simple. Often it might have it'll always look well designed, I would say, almost always. And this is me sort of generalizing based on our top emailers. I could try and pull out a bunch of data. It's hard to reconcile that with email design, but yeah, minimal and yeah, it's sort of, I guess, not overly busy is the other thing that tends to stand out. And the one other interesting thing is, we have tons of different types of automated emails you can turn on in Smartrmail. The one that drives the most revenue still, and by a fair margin, double more than the next type of automation, is actually product recommendation emails that are automated to go out at intervals. And the funniest part about that is a part of our app that has less design flexibility, and the actual how the products are laid out. That's just because it's like an older part of the app. We sort of haven't finished the editor like everything else. It's actually still quite minimal, and it's more than double revenue per email on those emails than the next highest. So I don't know what that tells you, but basically, it's got a strong product focus and it's super, super minimal looking emails. I guess, our ethos has always been the relevancy of the content in these emails is the most important thing for us to provide. So we sort of work on that. So you're doing bulk email, but it's actually customized to your audience. And then it's not overly designed, I guess, are the ones that tend to generate revenue at the highest rate.
I think some of it has to do, and I'm not the expert here, but I think some of it, working my way, like I do get to talk to a lot of people, but anyways,
sure.
I guess, some of it has to do with the ratio of value provided to the recipient of the email versus the call to have that value reciprocated by way of a purchase. So like, I wouldn't want to send like a product recommendation every week because I don't have that many products. What I do have is a lot of ideas that I want to convey. And, over time they get a bunch of those emails and then a product recommendation comes in. And then at that point they say, oh, well, actually, because I've warmed them to the concept, right? I've been selling them on the brand, working them over that way. And so that I think is probably a great deal of how these are done, for one, equitably, but also in a way that gets people the results that they want.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree. And sort of, I guess sometimes it's easy, while we're designing the product, we sort of have a very transactional hat on. We're sort of saying, hey, what more data can we use for that stores can kind of send a customized flow email with, right? But taking a step back, engaging a customer or potential customer in your actual brand and sort of providing content that actually engages with them, not just selling. Of course, that's going to convert, and especially over the long haul. And I guess on a more practical note as well, our tools are very much focused on retention, I guess. Someone's purchased once, keeping them coming back, it's your kind of owned audience, what else can you send them that is relevant to them? But there's a really important part of email in e-commerce, and that is capturing potential new customers and effectively improving your conversion rate by turning them sort of slowly into customers. And the way I kind of think about that in e-commerce especially is, if you selling stuff online and you convert, say, 1% of your visitors, so you have a 1% conversion rate, well, that's actually not too bad. It's say 2% conversion rate. Well, that's really great in e-commerce. But what that means is 98 visitors out of 100 are bouncing and not buying that day. So if you work at capturing those customers, say with a pop-up or like smart on products, product page email collection, and you maybe convert another 5% of them via the pop-up or the on-page product email collection into your email funnel, well, that funnel should convert at a pretty high rate if you have the right kind of flow on there. Maybe you convert 25% of them eventually after a few emails. So what you've effectively done is turn that, say, 1% conversion rate into 3% over time. That's massive for e-commerce. So thinking about email in that frame as well is super important. And I know especially sometimes sort of first-time e-commerce founders get a little bit hesitant about, say, on-page pop-ups to collect people, and I kind of get it. They can be a bit annoying, but if you do it in the right way and you offer people real value for giving you their email address, you actually treat it like a kind of relationship and not just give me your email. Whether it's a discount or whatever. It's super important and super effective. So that's the other part of email and what Smartrmail can do as well that people should be thinking about, especially, and this is e-commerce for
So one thing that I can't help but wonder about, and the way I'm asking this is not so much for you to feel like you have to be the arbiter on this subject, but I think it has more to do with like case studies and what you've observed, is how far I can reuse content. So like, say, for instance, I write something in a blog, and some people, they might not come back to the website. They might not even know that there was a blog, which is probably more my fault. But I would like to know that I can reuse my blog content in an email, just so that it's more worth my time to be able to disseminate that material into multiple sources. So have you seen like disaster over this, or have you seen that this turns out to be like, oh, this is actually pretty good? Most people don't seem to care. They just want to read.
No, I've never seen a disaster where someone says, oh my God, I've read this article already. How dare you send it to me? And on the flip side, I would assume that most new people signing up for your email address probably haven't read your greatest hits on your blog. That's a great, easy first step. Is if you're setting up, say, a flow or a funnel aimed at new subscribers, just pull out the evergreen content, the greatest hits, the stuff that is popular on your blog over time, and put it in that flow. It's like, think about it as kind of building a relationship. I know it feels one-sided, but it's not. These people are engaging. If you send, six pieces of content from the last few years over 6 weeks to new subscribers, it's a great way to engage people for the long term.
Well, we always want to, the idea is to look for ways to excite the creative mind as a seller. Like for me, I would think one thing I'd like to try to do is do like a highlight of several blogs, just like snippets from each one. Say, read the full thing here, go to this one, go to this one, go to this one. And so that way I'm showing like an array of some of the writing that I've done over the course of the year.
Totally. And that makes complete sense, and it does come down to the sort of how you communicate as well, like your brand voice, what your customers expect from you. So totally pulling a whole bunch of that content into like bigger kind of emails definitely can make sense. We like I said, we're sort of more e-commerce focused. I'm not really the expert on the kind of long form email content. I just know it as a consumer of it as well. Like, the obviously the Substacks and the blogs I engage with. I love going deep on them, and I love getting long emails.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there was this window where I kind of went scorched earth on emails because I had signed up for so many of them, and then I just like, you got to go. And one of them, they were clever / insidious. I don't want to call them out or anything, but they had so many different sub brands where I would unsubscribe to one, and then the next sub brand like would send another one. I unsubscribed to that, then another, then another. And I actually got to the point where I emailed them back and said, please, for God's sake, stop sending me these. And that actually worked. So some they must have had a keyword search, be like, all right, if somebody gets irate, just let him go.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend making it hard to unsubscribe. I'd talked a lot about strategy and like a whole bunch of stuff here. Your inbox kind of health is actually super important. It's something that people don't think about enough, I'd say, just because it's kind of boring and technical. But that can be kind of a really, really big deal if you have engaging emails. You get this positive kind of feedback cycle. For example, Gmail's smart, right? So they look at how your general kind of open and engagement rates for your sending domain, sending IPs, and say, hey, over time, these guys have good engagement rates. And so it's more likely to hit the inbox, maybe even go from the kind of promotions tab into primary tab. But on the flip side, if you make it hard to kind of unsubscribe, or you do funny stuff, like you change brands and keep emailing to the same list, what happens is you get a whole bunch of people not opening, you get a whole bunch of people marking spam, and then that's the opposite cycle. And then it's more likely to go into spam in more other people's inboxes. And it can really, really cook your emailing in general. So yeah, that kind of good hygiene is super important. for the long term.
Yeah, and touching on the inbox from the user side, I think one of the unsung advantages of having like a healthy inbox ecosystem is its ability to archive a significant amount of data. Now, not to open up the can of worms, which I am constantly restraining myself not to do, but like I do subscribe to some political podcasts, and I mean the news cycle changes rapidly every 10 minutes. Something happens, and it's very difficult to keep track. But I've kept on to every last one of those emails from each episode of the podcast, which is every day, 5 days a week. And so even though I don't really I have a high engagement rate, what I do have is this treasure trove of news articles, of links, of insights, all of which that I can access at any time. So like one thing I would like to see, at least as far as the email side go, is for there to be a little bit more of a storage and archival process where it allows for emails to eventually become like miniature books. Like if I were to get constant emails from Smartrmail, over time I would want to collect all of that to the point where I now have like this PDF of like 42 pages worth of different Smartrmail updates. So I think there is a lot that needs to be done on the recipient side to encourage all of this content, all this free, valuable content, to become more digestible for the consumer. Another example, I'll just say real quick, and I would love to get your take on it, is Manta Sleep, the sleep mask company. They send information about sleep every week, and I don't read all of them. I just don't. But imagine if it was all consolidated into one PDF, and I just had myself like a 3-hour how to fall asleep without so much melatonin session. That would be fantastic. But I'd love to hear your take on being an email company. What would you love to see, or some of the practices, what would you love to see change or be improved on as far as emails go?
It's kind of weird. Like if email itself predates the World Wide Web, it was like late 60s invention. It's amazing. It's the cockroach of the internet. And like the other cool thing is it's a completely open protocol. No one owns it, just like TCP/IP. It's kind of, email is for everyone. And obviously there's been a bunch of bad email stuff that's happened over the last kind of 10 years with spam and whatnot. But it's cool to see a bunch more, I guess, progress in email in the last sort of 2 or 3 years. And I'm not just talking about Substack. It's kind of like Superhuman and even Gmail and a few other kind of inbox apps that are kind of trying to improve on the fairly stock standard email experience. And what I kind of can see happening is just like there's kind of headless commerce coming. You won't be going to someone's website to buy stuff. You buy it off a social link. You kind of, wherever you are. I can see that coming with email as well, where email itself will be its own experience in the inbox, and it won't just be done clicking links out to a website anymore or a social app or anything. Email will be the experience. And so I don't think it's far away where you'll be able to, and I'm e-commerce focused, where you just be able to kind of transact straight from your email inbox. You'll be able to kind of, just live within the inbox. And what that'll mean is the relevant email and the stuff that you like and engage with will be way more powerful. I can kind of see that coming really soon. And we're thinking about that a lot as well. And I don't know. I just like that there's a lot of, we've been in email for many years, and it just feels like recently there's this resurgence of interest in it, which is really cool because, it's always been the cockroach of the internet. It's just nice to see it get a little bit more, people a bit more excited about it too.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with how the content is consumed. I think at this point, most people, it's funny because I can't remember which developing country this is, where they don't have access to running water, but they all have iPhones, something along those lines. So it just seemed amusing to me. You have tablets, obviously a lot, an increase in touch technology, and so just the experience of going through this information, I'd say, has ramped up, especially in the last 5 years. One of the take that I'd like to share on for me is I and this is coming from my podcasting background, is, there's all these distribution platforms. There's some major ones, there's some minor ones, and then there's stuff. And I've always felt like that needs to be fixed. There really needs to be some way for some catch-all to consolidate all of, regardless of where a platform is hosted, regardless of where I prefer to subscribe to, some way for it to seamlessly be fed into my my device. And I'd like to see the same thing happen with emails, but also with messages altogether. So more like this. So imagine looking at a tablet and just seamlessly going from like, okay, this is a text message. What's next on my feed? Oh, a TikTok. What's next on my feed? Oh, my stocks. What's next on my feed? Oh, my crypto. And so, I mean, the downside is that it's going to fully control us, and at that point, no one's getting out of bed. But if we can be disciplined, I think it can allow the strength of each medium to stand on their own terms. Because the problem is a lot of, I think, the ability for somebody to read an email happens to be like when they get it, like if they happen to be on their lunch break. They're like, oh, I'll check this out later. And then I go to my inbox and I've got like 6 messages. I'm like, okay, I'm not reading these guys. And next thing I know, it's archived or bust.
Yeah. That's a sort of an interesting one as well. And it kind of, I'm not sure how easily solvable that is. I kind of going back to, a kind of a global messaging kind of layer. Yeah, like people have been trying to do that with products. I know there's a few that I've seen. It's an interesting one. I don't know where it's going with that though. I don't know if ultimately it's the kind of platform that you most consume that will try and fix that. But then again, how long is it until we don't have phones and we just kind of ARing our way around the world, so I have no idea where that's going, to be honest. But it's kind of, when it happens, I reckon it'll be not how we think, because it seems that those massive jumps aren't easy to predict, right? But email sort of having that sort of recency problem. That's really real. Especially with people who get a lot of email or who have a lot of newsletters or whatnot. If it's not timed right, it can kind of just be missed and gone, and that's gone. We try and help our customers, with sort of building out smart send frequency type tools that kind of. So we do the sort of automated content stuff already based on customer data. It'll be automated sending based on any data we have about when that particular customer has opened the last emails, and try and time it better against that. That's a fairly hard problem to solve, and we're trying to solve it with our sort of ML stack. We're trying to do a small thing on our end, but in the end it's more, I guess, around the inbox side of things. And again, I don't know where the world's going on that one, but sort of have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting problem, and it calls for an interesting solution. So, just to give Mantis Sleep one more shout out, but they've helped me get to sleep. I'll say that much. Is the way they brand it? It's called the Sleepscape. Issue number 1, issue 2, issue 3, and what they do is they tend to brand it as like almost like it's a miniature magazine. And I think that, to me, is taking the strengths of other mediums as well and working into the DNA of the message. So if I don't have a tablet that I use routinely, but imagine if I did, that would probably be the most enjoyable experience possible, which is having like this miniature magazine sent to my inbox. So I mean, a lot of it will also fall on the brand as well, to figure out how do we get people to be excited to see your email. So it's a heck of a challenge.
Yeah.
I appreciate your take on it. I like getting into the philosophical territory. Now, to get back to a granular question. So you had said earlier that the number 1 email was the product recommendation email, and by a significant margin too. So I was wondering about that. But in order, I think, to make the best comparison, at least in my own mind, whether that's now or when I'm having my usual how do I get to sleep struggle, is what's the number two email? What's the, even if it is far off, what's number two?
And this is by clicks into revenue. So that's just one way to judge, is this a good email? Your email updates or newsletters or whatever, they might be more popular in a way. People might engage with them more, but they might not drive immediate sales straight away. But the number two is the abandoned carts, the smart abandoned carts. So they convert very highly, obviously, because there's a high intent on them. But the number one for revenue by margin is those product recommendation emails.
Yeah, I mean, okay. The only takeaway that I can come up with, at least on the spot, is the where that falls into the funnel, because you have people who are warm, they have purchased, and so, anyways, yeah, okay, that checks that out. Okay, so I got a key one for you. I think this is a cool question, but I don't know what kind of answer it could yield. But we're going to go for it. Do you notice any significant differences between the brands that say use Shopify versus the ones that say use WooCommerce or BigCommerce or some of the other platforms?
Yeah, definitely. Big differences.
Big differences.
Yeah, huge. And this is only based on our experience of users. Sure. So the people who, obviously Shopify is the biggest platform by users. So, we sort of, hard to generalize on what a Shopify user is like, but people on WooCommerce, they tend to have more questions about our API. They tend to, I think, because WooCommerce, one, is a customizable tool and a free tool, I find they tend to pay us less as well. We've got more free plan users on Woo. It's cheaper than Shopify, I guess. And they tend to ask more questions around T's and C's and all sorts of stuff like that. So yeah, there's a few insights about the differences. And BigCommerce customers on average are much bigger than our Shopify customers. Number of people in their subscriber lists. So yeah, they tend to be on our higher plans, paying us more, but we have a lot less. So I guess, yeah, Shopify, that growth rate you can see in general, it's been sort of astronomical. So that's our biggest market. Followed by Woo. Not Woo. Followed by BigCommerce.
And so that actually raises another really good question too. Now, mind you, when I had planned this one out, I was thinking specifically for Shopify, but the more information, the merrier. Which is what you notice about businesses that have been able to cross that threshold from being on the free plan to the paid plan is, I imagine that a large degree of it is the strength of the emails by way of working with your company. I would also say, which I think is fair, is that there's probably other factors too. Their advertising, their just the customer service, whatever that happens to be. But overall, what have you noticed has been like the key indicators of ones that, frankly, to put it in the most frank way possible, is the ones that can finally pay you?
Sure. Yeah. And that threshold is at 1,000 subscribers. So we sort of, pay a bit of attention when someone has, say, 900 or 800 plus subscribers. Check sort of, they're going to be hitting that threshold where they sort of don't qualify for the free plan anymore. And I guess, yeah, this is just me pulling out some random observations, but I do tend to see a fair bit that they have pretty strong social presences. Often it's Insta. So they might have a decent Insta following, and the kind of, be putting a bit of work in there, and perhaps they'll be using Smartrmail as their first email tool, and email hasn't really been a channel that they've used. And so what we can see pretty quickly is, we can help you spin up email, another channel that brings in more revenue or gets you more repeat sales very easily. So there's not well, you don't see much pushback on people when they hit that threshold. If they have a bit of that momentum, and it's normally they have momentum on a social channel normally, and they're bringing in email. That's sort of the switches we see. So a lot of, and you can see pretty fast growth rates in some of these stores as well. They'll go from like 800 subscribers to 5,000 because they, as soon as you see results on this new channel, we're like, oh, okay, I thought email was dead. I thought it was for boomers. Well, no, it's actually like it can still a great way to engage with your audience, even if your main audience is sort of 17 years old. So, yeah, that's kind of what we anecdotally see a fair bit of.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're swimming in evidence, so even I would take your anecdotal stories as something significant to pay attention to. I have you for I got you for a bit more time. Not a heck of a lot, certainly not as much as I would like, but dims the brakes. Personally, I have an affinity for affiliate marketing. So like I've dipped my head into a lot of different head. No, people don't dip their heads; they dip their toes. Come on, Joseph, get it together. They dip their toes into different pools. So when I with SEO, I try my best to understand it. I really truly do. But I'm pretty sure if I were to go back and watch my footage, you can see me drooling at the mouth a little bit. Whereas with affiliate marketing, I really got it. And it excites me to use it because it actually compels me to use my creative side, my writing side, my promotional side. Have you seen affiliate marketing? And to describe exactly what I mean by that is like I send an email, I'm promoting somebody else's product just because I really believe in what they're doing, and I stick an affiliate link in there. Have you seen people do affiliate marketing by way of email, or have you seen that pretty much like is relegated to the website more often?
Yeah, it doesn't come up much for us, and I guess because people are mostly using us to speak to their audience who'll buy direct from them. So yeah, obviously affiliate marketing email is huge. It's just sort of not really our kind of niche, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I just thought it was I mean, for me, like I said, affiliate marketing is just something I'm a big fan of. So
Yeah.
when opportunity calls, give it a shot. Okay, so I'm gonna bring back a question that I had tabled earlier, and because I don't have you for much time left. So what I'm wondering is, are you starting to identify problems that perhaps another idea could be the solution to? Where do you see where do you see yourselves going?
Yeah. Well, definitely. Like we, so with Smartrmail, we sort of we've built this kind of powerful automation platform and like a bunch of really cool kind of composing visual tools that happen to be an email because that's what we were using and understand. But like at the end of the day, it's a marketing automation platform. So I would love to add in more channels to allow people to kind of automate their kind of messaging to their customers, not just on email and not just collect emails. The kind of most obvious one there is sort of SMS. They sort of held off on that for a little while because I hate bulk SMS like the rest of the world. And yeah, I guess we sort of automated SMS that's targeted based on your kind of user journey. Like that makes sense to me. But the bulk SMS, I never really wanted to do. So we sort of put that on the backlog.
Just a quick question for you. Have you heard of cartloop.io?
No, I don't know Cartloop.
Yeah, I got a chance to speak with them a while ago. I've talked to other SMS people, but Cartloop is a conversational one, so they actually focus on having people on the other end. So yeah, you might have an affinity for them. I'd have a look into it. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just
I'll check them out. And the other thing is, we integrate with a bunch of cool tools. So like review apps and kind of support apps and all sorts of stuff that are in e-commerce. We don't want to build that stuff. We just want to integrate with the guys who are doing it well. And so, yeah, our first port of call has been to start building integrations into good SMS providers. But yeah, we'll add in SMS as well for abandoned carts and some of these like key sort of automations. And then, there's just so much more to do. The hard thing is prioritizing it, right?
Yeah, fair. I didn't even get a chance to ask you about, the projection of like, oh, we'll do this in 3 months, 14 months later. So I didn't get that one in.
Yeah, but, that's just software development, isn't it? Like, you've got this crude MVP that you think is almost there, and then you realize it's a long way from almost there. But it's there's a lot to do, and also like I don't know, it's hard. It's hard being an entrepreneur in a space where changes so much, and you see so many glaring problems that you're like, I could solve this, I could build this, and it's like sometimes it's really hard when you finally get a great idea to do something else to just kind of not do it.
Because discovery is addictive. Like it's that beginning phase of it that's the most addictive thing, and then you get into the frustration side of it, and then it's very easy to go back to discovery rather than power through and get to the next phase after frustration, which is mastery.
But also prioritization is just so hard. Like, we've got so much more to do on Smartrmail and like, momentum, all this stuff. But like, it sort of we went through the process of applying for a revenue-based finance loan from, big names that do it, did all that just kind of to see what it is, what they'd offer, all these sorts of things. And the process was, to be honest, kind of clunky. And, you look at Pipe, who are sort of growing quickly, and they do they turn your MRR into ARR, which is a great idea. And I'm just like, why can't there be a debt marketplace that's maybe DeFi debt marketplace? You could bang across, USDC as well as, put money in. You have money, you want to get a good return, you plug into SaaS and e-commerce on the other side, plug into Stripe and Xero and these tools, and you have you say, I'll give you 8% loan based on these terms. Why doesn't that exist? It should. It's such a needed idea when you see how clunky the current process is. And the first time I've been through that, and I'm like, oh man, my God, this could improve. And, I can't work on that. If someone listening wants to, please do it, because it should exist. And it's like, you have these things, these ideas that come up, and you just can't. I have to stay focused. But anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm going to respond to that super briefly because we got to get you on out of here. But certain practices, they do benefit from being more protracted. Like the difficulty of getting the loan is an inherent advantage, even if it's not intentional. So that's it.
Yep.
Real quick point there. So with that, I think our audience I imagine we might have missed a couple of key features about your service. If so, I leave it to you. If you want to use a little bit more time, just let us know about them. Otherwise, we can send our audience over, and I'm happy to say you can sign me up. I'm giving this a go for myself because like I said at the beginning, I got skin in the game, and I still got pieces to put together. So I'm happy to say this is definitely going to be a piece for me. So with that, the floor is yours once more. If you want to let us know how to find you, anything else you want us to let us know about the service, and if there's like a Chinese proverb or a piece of wisdom you like, feel free to share it. But we're on the clock here, so have the floor as much as you like, and then we'll get you on out of here.
Fantastic, cool. Definitely sign up. Get on Smartrmail for sure. I'd love to have you on there. I love your feedback too. If people, if folks listening are, in e-commerce and want to try Smartrmail, just find us at smartrmail.com. That's SMARTRMAIL. Or, if you actually sort of want to go a bit deeper on email automation, we did a course with Shopify, a video course. You can just Google Shopify email automation course and you'll see us there. And, we take you through kind of the deeper setup on best practice there. If you want to find me as well, ranting about stuff and the world, I'm on Twitter, GT Hartley. That's my handle. That's kind of, happy to leave it there. It's been really great chatting with you. And it's nice to have some far-ranging kind of questions as well. It's been a nice way to start the day here.
Yeah, like it opens the brain wide up. It's a speciality for me. I come from a very, very quirky line of work. So, doors open, by the way. Give yourself a couple quarters. More than happy to have you back and keep the conversation going from there. So, to our audience, as always, it's an honor to be able to collect and give this information to you. To my editor, Micah, one, thank you for all you do, and two, link to Shopify. This is just so you know. Just put the course in the notes. That's for her. And to everybody else, take care, and we will check in soon.
I tend to focus a lot on word of mouth. If people ask me, how do you know?
Hey, this is Joseph from Ecomonics. Just wanted to thank you for being here and for giving this content your time and attention. I hope you learned something. I can say with certainty, I have learned something with every episode that I have done, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. There's a couple of things you can do to help us out. If you want to check out the audio content, we are available on all major podcast platform distributors. And while you're there, give us a 5-star review. It helps a lot. And while you're here on YouTube, there's a lot of things you can do to help out as well. It's not going to take very long. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button for this episode, and hit the notification bell so when we have new content for you, it's going to be at your doorstep ASAP. Lastly, this podcast is created by Debutify, the best Shopify template available. It is 100% free for you to start, and it can change your life. It can make you so much more free than you are right now. So if this episode wasn't enough to convince you, I think a few more might do the trick. So have at it.